Ricky Flex, I'm very excited for this movie. If I saw this trailer at the beginning of the year, I probably would have drafted it for one of the most anticipated movies of 2024. How excited are you to talk about this trailer?
Wow, that's a hefty statement. I do remember you buzzing after A Quiet Place Part Two.
Okay.
Again, Part Two. You loved that movie out of the theater. I liked it a lot. Um, and I'll just be hesitant with the trilogy. I think we'll get a sequel or a third or a movie after the second. So like that would be technically be the third movie. Or I guess that's how would you say that?
It's kind of like it's like it's a Quentin Tarantino trilogy.
Yeah, yeah. But I do think there's gonna be more Quiet Place movies. I want that on the record.
Oh yeah, but I think this franchise is so smart, Ricky. Having the first one right set in the countryside, right, a very ideal location for a horror movie that is set in quiet, in silence, and in peace until it all comes to naught. And then Quiet Place Part Two, right, somehow is successful. John Krasinski returns just to direct, is no longer in the lead. You just plug in Cillian Murphy, and Cillian Murphy's been on an absolute freaking tear since A Quiet Place Part 2. And now this one, they're going back to day one, and we're getting the loudest atmosphere we've had with one of these movies. It was so smart to set it in New York City, probably the loudest city on planet Earth.
Yeah.
I just thought it was so genius. And having Michael Sarnowski coming in to direct this, he wrote First Quiet Place. I don't know if he wrote A Quiet Place Part 2, but just to have that connectivity, you got the connectivity of Jaimin Hansu, who appeared in Quiet Place Part 2, also going to be showing up in this prequel. I just love a lot of things that I saw, Ricky Flex. What do you think about like this concept to have it set in NYC?
Yeah, this is very smart. Like the first movie, it was so interesting because it's an alien invasion, but you don't get the invasion. You
Mm.
get like the life post alien invasion. It's a kind of like a post apocalyptic. Oh God, apocalypse.
Apocalyptic.
Thank you. Again, as you know, I cannot say anything or
I think you
pronounce anything.
speak too fast. Like you're just like you process things really fast and like you just get it out of your system and like it doesn't matter if it's pronounced right or wrong.
That's a compliment. I'll take it. I'll take that.
Yes, it
But
is a compliment.
I I'll just say from this trailer, I did like it a lot. I agree. The countdown again, clever. Again, going through what we know, the legacy IP, but then it just abruptly goes to zero and it goes from that quietness to loud NYC traffic. Perfect.
Mhm.
Perfect transition. We got a Lupita Nyong'o all alone, pre-invasion, so that's an interesting backstory because that probably is going to have a part into when she has to be quiet. And Lupita Nyong'o, again, like Oscar winner, hasn't been doing a lot, but I like this role for her where in her previous work, like she doesn't say a lot. She's a very physical actor. She's not like the one that's going to give a big speech, She's like going to have that look, with those eyes. And like that's what she's known for. And I like her addition here with this franchise and the quietness of it. I think it's a great blend. So I love it. And I also like how we're definitely going to get more deaths, some bigger action sequences, just from the nature of people. Like, when are they going to find out throughout the movie when they have to be quiet? We don't know. Will it be at the beginning? Will it be at the end? I don't know. I think they should do it near the end because it'll be something different from what we've seen in the previous two movies. So that just appeals to me a lot. Again, I really like this trailer. I have one negative about the trailer, and it's with the Joseph Quinn character. That's it.
We'll get to Joseph Quinn. I want to stick with Lupita Nyong'o, and it feels like this goes into the processing thing I was just talking about. You know how it's a Y as the second letter of her name, but you make it sound like it's a W. You say
Nyong'o.
Nwongo, Nyong'o, but I thought it sounded like you were saying Nwongo.
I was just talking so fast.
That's what I'm saying. You like you process it too fast. Like you say it before you even say it. But I think this is the blockbuster movies she should be doing rather than Black Panther and Wakanda Forever. Like when I think of Lupita Nyong'o, I think of her in Us or 12 Years a Slave. I think of her intense emotion on her face and saying everything without literally talking, And I think that suits a Quiet Place franchise so well. Once again, the setting is so great because you go from the wide open countryside into the claustrophobia of a New York City in the panic that you capture on the first day of this alien invasion. It's going to feel totally new, but still have loose enough connectivity that you still like, oh yeah, this is like a part of this franchise. And Lupita Nyong'o, her look in this movie, hipster, cat lady, single, NYC. It kind of fits like the vibe, you know.
It
Her just
does.
carrying a cat. I'm like, oh, she's gonna be a weirdo. You know, she's gonna have no friends. I feel like I know
Loner.
everything.
I won't say weirdo. I'll say loner.
Yeah, and she has like she doesn't have a lot of hairs. Like she wears the hat. It just doesn't seem like she's going to be that social of a person if you were just carrying a cat around in New York City. Maybe it's because of like these devastating events that are about to incur why she's carrying this cat. But like to see her like getting crushed by that car, that guy trying to like drag her feet, like this is going to be action packed and chaotic, and it's going to be loud. Right. I think it's going to have a really stark contrast. The sound editing, I think, is going to be on point, just going from the loudness of a New York City, the boom of a New York City, into the absolute silence where you can't even cough. And Joseph Quinn or somebody, or Jaimin Hansu, is grabbing Lupita Nyong'o's mouth as she is like covered in dust. I thought that was an amazing visual too. What I'm kind of, before I get to Joseph Quinn, something that's kind of I'm skeptical about. Whenever I see like a major like historical monument like getting dissolved, right? Getting burned down, right? Something terrible happens to it. My mind just immediately thinks, how is the CGI going to look in this movie? Something you didn't have to worry about as much in the first and second Quiet Place, but now with all these buildings and all this destruction, you're wondering kind of how is it going to appear on screen? When I see the George Washington Bridge like going by the wayside from these events, I'm like, whew, I wonder how that's going to look like on the final cut. But I guess we'll find out June 28th. But any other comments before we get to Joseph Quinn?
Yeah, I think just going off of that, it makes sense with the budget here being 55 million versus the sequel getting 17 million,
Wow,
increase from the first
so
one.
low.
So again, like this is a huge increase in budget, and it's from what you're saying. The monument, it wasn't the Golden Gate Bridge, obviously, because they're in New York. So was it the George Washington or something coming down, and then all the other invasion effects that they're going to have to do here. So that's exciting. Hopefully they can execute properly. I also just before again, I guess my last thing before the Joseph Quinn commentary would be the quote, why the world went quiet, why our world
Mm.
went quiet. It's a great quote. It's saying like, oh, like this is just a prequel. This is going to show you why John Krasinski and crew. But I was thinking, what if they give us an explanation as to why the aliens came?
Yeah, so they don't have to do a prequel to the prequel.
Yeah, basically. And they'll be talking throughout this movie, hopefully. So it's like, oh, they can figure it out on the fly. Like there's going to be radio going off saying, get shelter. This is why it's happening. Before they all know, like,
Government
why.
communication potentially,
Exactly.
you know? Yeah,
Yes.
that would be helpful, you know, and I think that would be because the first one just throws you in this world. All right. You get like a nice little introductory at the baseball. No, that was the second one. But like the
Second one.
first
That's
one,
a
you're
great
kind of
scene.
thrown into the world. And the second one expands the world slightly, right? You're going to different locales. We're introducing more characters. And this one has an opportunity to tell you what it was like on day one and why the aliens were here. Okay. I think it could be a really nice wrap up to what we're calling like the Pulp Fiction trilogy. That's
Yes.
exactly what this is, you know? And I'm the budget is really obvious, right? And we're getting more characters. Joseph Quinn coming into the fold here. His first major like blockbuster film appearance. He's uh going to be in Gladiator 2, which comes out this year, 2024. He is presumed and rumored, I should say, to be Johnny Storm in the Fantastic Four for the MCU. This is kind of kickstarting his 2024. And Stranger Things, who knows if that comes out 2024 or 2025. Um, this is like a test. This is a big time test, right? Lupita Nyong'o is someone that like I just naturally trust when I hear that she's in a project. A project will never be bad because of Lupita Nyong'o. I can't say the same necessarily for Joseph Quinn because he hasn't had right that resume built yet, you know. And he's someone that this is going to be a quieter role maybe than the loud bombastic dude that he was in Stranger Things, right? Or he's gonna be a guy who can't control how loud he is. I think that might be a good approach
That's
for his type of character. But him in the suit and tie, looking a lot more mature. I'm just looking at it. I don't know. I don't know. It's not really going to be him and Lupita Nyong'o, I think, holding the screen. I think it's primarily Lupita Nyong'o. I'm looking at Joseph Quinn. He probably had similar screen time to like a Jaimin Hansu. I don't think he's going to have to do a lot of the heavy lifting that Lupita is or Miss Nyong'o. I never call her by the first name, Ricky Flex. But I'm interested to see how he does. I'm not convinced because I just haven't seen anything from him.
Yeah, I think you summed it up well, but I'll just say, like, my prediction for him is that he's gonna be the guy, not comic relief, but, like, the guy that just can't put it all together. And when the sound like, before the sound, like, they realize they have to be quiet, by the time they get to that realization, he's gonna be dead already. And then Diem and
Mm.
Hansu is gonna come into the fray and kinda guide Lupita Nyong'o, like, forward, because we all know Diem and Hansu, it lives throughout this movie, spoiler alert, like, because of the sequel to A Quiet Place. So that's my kinda like my prediction there. And him in the suit, just, like, honestly, the vibes that it gave me, Stranger Things Sean Astin type of vibes. It's just kinda like humming along, a minor character, not a main supporting character, even though he is. I didn't get that good feeling from this trailer for him. I know he didn't have a lot of screen time in it, and I think it's for that reason I said it's because he's not gonna have as much screen time as you think he will throughout the movie.
He could be like how we have like the hipster cat lady that is Lupita Nyong'o. He might be like the Wall Street finance bro that
Yeah.
isn't composed in intense situations and is not meant for these type of
Who's,
situations. And
d
I could
the
see him
diehard
dying
the
halfway
die
through this movie.
yeah, the diehard guy that does cocaine and is drinking the Coca-Cola.
Yeah, the guy with the beard. Yeah. The guy who
John,
spills
we go way
everything to Alan
back.
Rickman. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, I could see something like that happen. And yeah. I can imagine him kind of being annoying.
Yeah.
And that might not be the best like choice for him as he goes into like the MCU. He's gonna be playing one of I don't know if the main antagonist, but one of the villains of Gladiator 2. I think he's supposed to be a part of a dual console, I think, of the Roman Empire. I'm not really sure. We'll have to hear more, and we have to see more. Hopefully we get a trailer for Gladiator Part 2 sooner rather than later. But any other thoughts on Quiet Place Day 1 before we wrap up and head to the checkup?
No, I think this is a good look into Joseph Quinn. This is a big year for him. This is big for Lupita Nyong'o because guess what? She hasn't done a lot. Yeah, sure, Wakanda Forever in 22. She did the 355 in early 2022. Remember that with Jessica Chastain, that terrible movie.
Try not
Um,
to.
she did crap.
She's Us in 2018, right?
Yeah, 2019. But she was
19,
also in Rise
yeah.
of Skywalker, bro.
Oh
For a
yeah, because
brief
she was
second.
the she no but no she was in the entire sequel
Well,
trilogy. She
yeah,
was the alien with the orange alien with the glasses that gives uh was it Luke's is it no Obi-Wan's lightsaber to Rey?
yeah, Maz or Maz, whatever. So, but the point is that she hasn't done a lot since Us, and the stuff she's done is IP, Star Wars, MCU, or a failure in the 355. So this is a good get right spot for her. And then Joseph Quinn we talked about, and I'll say this: Michael Sarnowski. All right, you mentioned it,
Pig,
former White.
right?
What? Yeah, and
Did he do
Pig
Pig?
director with Nicolas
Yeah.
Cage. So this is a comfortable position for him, a bigger stage than Pig, something he's comfortable in. Also co-writing this, John Krasinski's co-writing this as well. Like this is a comfortable spot to say, hey, I could do some bigger projects here, and this could be a big like a stepping stone for him going forward. So I'm excited on all fronts, not just from the movie and the trailer's perspective, but behind the scenes and going forward with these guys.
Yeah, Michael Sarnowski, like he has experience with this franchise and he's good at like a quieter film or smaller film like Pig. I think this is like a good like him turning up a little bit, like him like dialing it
Yeah,
up a little
yeah.
bit more as he goes into the fold.